than never, right? That's how I feel. All right, y'all. So, greetings again. Greetings. Welcome, welcome to another episode of Brown Girls Are Beautiful. Y'all, excuse the fact that I look shiny on the forehead. What is going on? You know, I wear sunshades because my eyes by this time are exhausted. Okay. So I'm looking this way because I'm on the phone. I look this way because this is the laptop. All right. So we have horizontal and vertical for those of you who don't know what's going on. With all that being said, I hope y'all can hear me. I hope I can be heard. I hope I can be heard. Let me turn this sound up, turn that volume up because y'all know they like to mess around with my stuff. Okay, I'm just checking my phone. Y'all got text messages coming through. And y'all, it is a day full of just heat. It got up to 96 degrees today. All right, I don't know how the weather was where you were, but over here, the weather was up to 96 degrees. So if you are out in heat, if you work in any type of construction, if you're working with the elements, I would just want to say I commend you. Be careful out there. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure that you know you're doing everything you can to protect your body, y'all, because it doesn't matter how old you are. That heat is nothing to play with. All right. There have been children that have succumbed to their heat-related injuries out on the football field. So just be careful, because you know a lot of times people like to put their children in practice, and they have soccer practice and all these different athletic sports, and sometimes it's just too much on the body. Children can actually pass out in the heat as well. I know people feel like because they have young bodies, they're okay. No, they have to stay hydrated as well, and they need to be in shade. If it's too hot and you feel like your children can't handle it, don't even take them to practice. What's good tonight with, let me see what it says. Tonight, West the Moon and Tanner 76. I don't think I pronounced that all the way correctly, y'all. But how are you doing? How are you doing? Glad to see you in the building. Um, y'all, I met a few nice, lovely people today. I must say that. And so my vibes, my energy is always feeling energized and revitalized when I meet such magnificent people with great, wonderful, magnificent energy, y'all. It's such a blessing. So I just wanted to spread this positive energy through the screen. If y'all can hear it, if you can feel it. Thank you so much for the like, by the way. Y'all, I tried to eat healthy today. I don't know if y'all saw my short. I had a salad. So if you could do anything for yourself, make sure you just take time to eat something healthy because I know it is hard out here for people that are on the go, on the move all the time. Eating healthy is definitely a challenge, but take the time for yourself. You're worth it. Your body is worth it. Your body is your temple. You're definitely worth it, okay? So don't ever put yourself last. I took a few moments to actually stretch. Okay, I'm doing better, y'all. And I will be working on the dumbbells as well because it's way past due. Bicycle riding is going to be next. Okay, bicycle riding, but it's just been too hot for me to be on the bicycle, y'all. I'm just going to tell y'all that. I didn't get a chance to walk today, but I do have an indoor walking mat. Excited about that. Am I going to get on it tonight? I doubt it. Maybe I will start coming on here and doing like little walkathons while I go live and we can walk together. I think that's a little clever. How do y'all like that? Y'all want to do some walkathons? We can do some activities, some exercise together, y'all. That way I'm getting it out the way at the same time. Also, I want to send a message to anybody out there that is working on any type of goal, any dream, any desire that you have, ambitions, motivations. Please keep going and don't give up on yourself. Please don't give up on yourself. You are so worth it. You are worth every bit of energy that you put into what you want for yourself, y'all. Don't ever give up on your dreams, your wishes, your goals, desires, because let me tell you, anything worth having, you're going to work hard for it, and it's not going to come easy. Unfortunately, that's how it is most of the time. Now, for sometimes you can get lucky. All right, things can come through easy for you, but a lot of times it's never that simple. It's never that easy. And as a matter of fact, we're about to enter into the back to school season. And I feel, torn about that because I feel like our education system is very outdated. So I don't know if these children are really getting what they need in the education system. These children are way behind when it comes to reading, writing, comprehension, and math as a whole. A lot of people are not really, I guess they're not tapped into that, or they don't really care about it. I talk about it a lot on the channel because it is a very big epidemic running rampant in this nation. And a lot of people just don't care about it. They don't care if their children can read. They don't care if their children can write. They don't care if their children can comprehend. What's good, Tenzink? How are you? They don't care if their children can analytically think, logically think about stuff. And it's getting to the point where I am just getting frustrated with the whole thing. You said, yeah, I got to say nothing. I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, they don't like for you to talk about it. A lot of teachers are quitting, and I can't blame them. I was talking to someone earlier. She said she actually taught for a year. And she said after that, she was over it and she went into finances and she's been in the baking industry ever since. And it's really because these children have a very lackadaisical approach to education and just as a whole. Like right now, I noticed that children, like when I went to school, we weren't wearing pajamas to school. We weren't wearing bedroom slippers to school. We actually, were presentable when we went to school. And not just that, I'm noticing out in public, I went to get gas earlier, and there was this grown guy at the gas pump over in the next aisle wearing pajama pants at the pump. Why are we wearing pajama? And it was a why are we wearing pajama pants outside to get gas at the gas station, y'all? Can't we do better? Can't we have some type of decorum and class about ourselves? Do we care how we present ourselves in public anymore? I just feel like people are just not caring anymore. And I just feel that children are looking at these things and they think that this type of behavior is okay. And this is why they really don't care, y'all, because what type of example are they seeing in the public? A grown man at the gas pump with pajamas on? Like, you didn't have a few extra minutes to at least put on jogging pants? Jogging pants. True Grizzlies. What's good, True Grizzlies fan? Please tell me you do not wear pajama pants to the gas pump. Okay? I'm hoping that we're not doing that on this channel. And if you are, please refrain from doing such a thing because you really do deserve to put a better presentation on for yourself. And another thing we must talk about it are these hair bonnets, y'all. The hair bonnet chronicles, the hair bonnet bandits. They need to come to an end, y'all. I cannot sit here and say that I feel that it's okay. It's not okay to be wearing hair bonnets out into the world. You said I do not throw on a t-shirt and simple pants as worst case. I respect that, True Grizzlies. I respect that. So I was having a conversation earlier, right? And I feel like you don't have real friends, you don't have real family if they don't tell you about how you look. If you're going out the house and you're not looking presentable and they see you about to leave and they don't say anything, they really don't care about you. Why do I say that, y'all? Because I remember years ago, I was about to go meet someone and it was nighttime. And y'all, I just threw on anything to leave out of the house. I mean, I did. I looked toe up. I didn't care. I was just like, I'm just going. And my sister was like, I'm not letting you leave out the house like that. She's younger than me, y'all. She said, you're not walking out of the house. You're not leaving like that. Come here. So she went through my stuff and she was like, put this on, at least match. She said, before you go. Because I wasn't really going to be in public, y'all. But she was like, no, whenever you leave out this house, you need to match at very minimum. That's what she told me. And I remember she was like, you cannot leave like that. And I just feel like if you have someone that truly cares about you, they're going to tell you the truth. So she set that standard for herself and she set it for me, her older sister, y'all. You said exactly. I dislike when I see women with a bonnet and pajama pants. I remember people would get on you. We need to bring back shame. Hey, how you doing, CJ? What's good out in Dallas? We do need to bring back accountability, true grizzlies. Your sister loves you. I know, Jean, and I thank her for that till this day because she really made me more cognizant of okay, because like sometimes I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't, I don't think I was wearing like pajamas out the house, but still, you need to at least look like you care about something in life, right? Look like you care about yourself in life, y'all. And I feel like as a lady, like I'm much older now, but looking back um, I didn't come out the house with like a bonnet on. Now these bonnets, are out of control. The bonnet bandits, and I need to do an episode of that for F Your Feelings Friday. I think that'll be a great episode. The bonnet bandits. The bonnet bandits. People probably will get hypersensitive and unsubscribe and dislike the video. But y'all, I'm not the only one that feels this way because I've been seeing people talk about it throughout social media and on other platforms. You said, I remember my people would say, "You not going to embarrass me. Go change it to something else." Well, you know what? Your family cared about you, true grizzlies. So now I understand, I understand better. And I would tell my nephews the same thing. Don't come out in public looking a certain way, and it's okay. Like, I know that we're living in a different era, a different day and time. The younger generation, the youth, they are coming out in 90-degree weather with hoodies on, and I'm looking and I have asked these young guys, I said, y'all are not hot. You're not hot. And they just laugh at me. Nah, I'm good. I'm like, okay. Y'all got on hoodies and a backpack in 90-degree weather. Like, we never did that. And my mother would tell us if we wore something and it was hot for the weather, she was like, take that off. You're making me hot just looking at you. That's what she would say. You look hot. Take that off, put something else on because you're making me hot looking at you. Drew Grizzly said, wash your face and brush your teeth. People not cleaning themselves too. Ooh, don't say it ain't so, Drew Grizzly. Say it ain't so. Not washing your face and brushing your teeth, y'all. I grew up where that was just like part of everyday life. My mother made sure the first thing we did when we got up, wash your face, brush your teeth. You go straight to that bathroom when you get up. Wash your face. It was a daily thing. Even if you're on summer vacation and you're out of school, you still wash your face, brush your teeth. That's an everyday occurrence. You can't skip days of brushing your teeth, y'all. That's not okay. You cannot skip this. Washing face, brushing teeth. And, I remember there were times when, she would be at work and she wouldn't get off until nighttime. But, back then she would call the house phone. Y'all remember the house phones? She would check up on us. Y'all took your baths. Y'all go run that bath water, take your baths because we had to get ready for the next day. We had to get ready for the next school day, right? So we were in charge of doing that. I don't know what's going on. You said people are not washing and cleaning themselves. That's disgusting behavior. And I have witnessed grown males not bathing every day. You said, you remember the phone line? True Grizzlies. Okay. We can relate. Okay. We can get down with the get down. So, yeah, back then, y'all, it was the rotary phone. And some people don't know about the rotary phone. But I can remember the phone number that we had in Germany, y'all. I still remember our phone number. It was 06233 42169. 06233 42169. So that was our phone number, and we had to dial my mother's job. And y'all, I don't even know how we knew how. Maybe we had like in the foyer area there was this desk, and we had the rotary phone. There was a typewriter, and like whenever she would call, we would have to answer. And I forgot what the thing was that we had to do. We had to make sure it was her. We couldn't pick up the phone and talk to anybody else but her or my daddy. And usually my daddy was like gone, and she was the one checking on us because he was like in the army. So sometimes in the army he was away at the field. He used to be gone for like, it seemed like weeks or months at a time. So she was really the one running the household while he was away. So she was working. She would come home, make sure we were okay, make sure we ate, make sure we had our clothes for the next day, make sure we made it to the bus stop. And it got to the point where sometimes, you know, I think we had a little routine going. We knew how to make it to the bus stop by ourselves. We knew how to come back from the bus stop by ourselves because literally, y'all, we had like at least a 10 or 15-minute walk back and forth to the bus because of where we lived. Our complex was on the opposite side of where the buses would be. And we had to go under this bridge, and it was just like a big episode of walking. It was a lot of people walking. So we weren't by ourselves. There were a whole group of children walking from these buildings to the other side to catch the buses because she would never want us to cross the street. She always said, y'all stay together. Don't ever cross that street no matter what. So that was that. You said yes from Germany. Are you still in Germany? No, I wish I was still in Germany, True Grizzlies. I'm not from there. We grew up there for about 5 years. I was living there. Yes, I remember phone line. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to put my device on do not disturb because they're sending me text messages. Okay, those were some of the best days of my life. Like if I really could go back there, I would go to those days and stay there. I wouldn't leave. I would stay there, y'all. I loved pros and cons of living in Germany. Pros, okay, so let me give you the cons of living in Germany. Hi JR the boss. I like that name. The cons of living in Germany is like we didn't have cable like over here. You know how you have, I don't have cable now, but I haven't had cable in years actually. But you know how like y'all have cable over here? We didn't. You're welcome, JR. We didn't have cable like where you could just get BET. Back when BET was really a thing. VH1, MTV, all these different channels. We didn't have it. We had one channel called AFN Network. That's all we had. Armed Forces Network. And we used to get these army commercials that would come on. And we had to actually watch the programming that came on at a certain time. So back during those days, we got the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Like when that came on, that was like a major thing for us because I was like glued to the TV. Carlton, Ashley, all of them and stuff. We used to get the Cosby Show. I used to love the Cosbys. Wrestling, WWF. I was a major fan of wrestling. They used to come on at 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Um, so a lot of times, like people, oh, you know what? I'm about to make you True Grizzlies. I'm gonna make you a moderator. Hold on one second. There you go. So yeah, so that was a thing. The older people in Germany would ride bicycles. Over here, you don't really see that, but in Germany, the elderly, they ride bicycles and like they can walk. We could walk downtown. It really wasn't like a lot of crime, like a high crime rate. We would walk downtown. It was very beautiful. A lot of historic buildings, a lot of cathedrals. We took a lot of field trips, castles. We used to visit castles and stuff like that. There were a lot of monuments to see. It was nice actually. It was actually nice. Thank you, True Grizzlies. Yeah, don't warn them, just eradicate them. Send them away in oblivion. Like we don't have time for that over here. But yeah, those were some good things. The bad things, like I said, was the lack of the cable. So you know how y'all have a lot of fast food restaurants here. You have Wendy's, KFC, Hardee's, like everything you can imagine. I'm sure it has changed now, but back then we didn't have all of that. We didn't have Kmart, we didn't have Walmart. A lot of like the Americanized things we did not have over there. So they had this one Burger King that was like on the army base. They had like McDonald's, but it was far few and in between. We ate there like one time when I went on a field trip when they had real chicken and the chicken nuggets, and it was delicious. Um, what else? The food was pretty decent. Excuse me. The food was pretty decent. The cons, I'm telling you, the cons were the cable, like just the Americanized stuff that we're accustomed to here. They didn't have it over there. The good part is like our buses were like tour, kind of like tour buses. Like our everyday school bus, we had like a coffee machine, a TV. It had a bathroom on the bus. We used to take double deckers on our double deckers like for our field trips. I never got to sit at the top, y'all. Every time we got the double decker bus, I wanted to sit at the freaking top. I never got to sit at the top. I was so disappointed. And I was just a hope, let me get at the top. Let me get at the top. So the double decker bus has two levels, the lower level and the upper level. I never got to sit up there, y'all. Never, not once. And we took a lot of field trips. The culture, you said, what about the culture? So the culture there is, of course, you know what's good at Erotic Natures. The culture there is, oh, Erotic Nature is mad. True Grizzlies, you know what to do to him. He's very he is so mad. Okay, stay mad. Okay, nobody cares about you. So anyway, the culture there is basically okay. So if you go to like a water park or like a beach area, the children don't wear they didn't wear like swimming clothes. Like little children wouldn't have clothes on. So that's one thing to get accustomed to. I mean, people here would call that something else. You know, they think it's pornographic, but over there that's their custom, that's their culture. So like if they're like of a certain age, if they're little children, they don't necessarily wear swimwear, which was different. um what's another thing? Like I said, you'll see the elderly people wearing riding bicycles over there. um I really enjoyed walking downtown. We could walk from where we live to like straight to downtown. That was really nice. They eat a lot of fresh bread, fresh bratwurst, like fresh sausage, a lot of that. The food is pretty good. Of course, you know there's no speed limit over there. So like over here on the interstate, how we have speed limits, they don't have speed limits. So they drive on something called the Autobahn. Autobahn means like car road or something, and how it translate. So no speed limits. All the cars over there that are taxi cabs back then are strictly Mercedes Benz, because that's where they make the BMW and the Mercedes and the Saab and the Volvo and the Audis. So that's why it's like when people come over here and they get all excited about these cars, it's like over there, those are the taxi cabs. The Mercedes are the taxi cabs. I don't know if they still have taxi cabs like that now, but that's pretty much all they drive is like Mercedes, BMW, because that's where they make those cars. Saabs, Volvos, and Audis. All of that comes from Germany. Um, what else could tell you about their culture? They have in October there's like this Oktoberfest. They have it here in America where they celebrate and they drink beer. They have something called the beer garden. You said makes sense because it's their cars very interesting. Yeah, so like their cars are made to go super fast because they drive on the Autobahn, which is like the interstate. And if you do not go fast enough, they will drive up behind you and wave their fist in the rearview mirror. Like you could see them waving their fist. If you look in your rearview mirror, that means you need to get out the way. That's what that means. So I don't really think they had a lot of car accidents from what I can remember. Like over here, they have a lot of car accidents. Over there, it wasn't like that. Pretty much because I guess they know how to navigate when they're driving, and from what I can remember. Um, I will say that they would stare at us sometimes because I guess they weren't used to seeing melanated people. And it was kind of rude, because I used to see them staring like they had never seen us before. And so they would just stare and stare, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So that was a thing, but it's probably not as prevalent now because, people are being very more diverse around the country right now. So everybody is just migrating all over the place. So you don't probably run into that as much. We had German Exchange Day. So German Exchange Day was like the American students would actually get to visit the German students' houses, and we could have lunch with them, and then they could have lunch with us. So I had a German exchange student where I went to her house, and I was able to eat lunch with her and her mother or whatever. And the little bit of German that I knew, I was trying to speak it, and the mother was just looking at me and smiling because it was very limited, y'all. Um, and she came and had lunch, with us or whatever. So that was neat. What else? You're laughing. Yeah, because I mean, it was so limited. I was like, gut, gut, that means good in German. Gut means gut. So, if you say zu essen means to eat, zu essen. But I think what I had was she made some type of spaghetti, from what I remember, what I recall back then. We did used to get taught German. So in first grade, I started learning German all the way till fifth grade. We left when I was in fifth grade because my daddy's father passed away. That was right around the time we left Germany. And he pulled me out of school early. And so we came back to the United States to go to his funeral. And that was like the first time I remember seeing him. The first time I met him, I was a baby, so I didn't really remember him. But it was definitely an experience that I think if you can get out of the country and just experience different cultures, please do it. It's really good, y'all, for the spirit. Like I was talking to this lady and her two daughters, and they're going to Peru. And they were just saying how like in America is so different versus other places. It's more calm, like people here are so low vibrational, as we saw with that idiot earlier that tried to come on the channel because he's so miserable, right? So you got a lot of miserable people here trying to take their anger out. But over there, we didn't really experience that, y'all. I, I don't know. It was very peaceful. Like from what I recall, it was very peaceful. If I could go back to those days and just live there, I would. Hey, sweetie. Y'all tinkapoo. I would go back and live there. I know people be like, "Oh, that's where the Nazis were," and this and that. Y'all, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like they try to portray it. As far as I was over there when they broke down the wall, so you had East Germany back then and West Germany. We lived, I think, I'm trying to remember what side of Germany. We lived in Mannheim, Mannheim. So that's where we lived. You said, yeah, I believe here in USA we're losing discipline and respect for one another by the day. We really are. And it's so sad. And it's like Americans have so much like material things that they don't really put things into perspective for the intangible. The intangible, you can't put a price on it, y'all. Your family, your happiness, your joy, your time, your energy, your respect. In Germany, like the way that they work, they have more vacation time. They get more time out for maternity leave. Over here, they work us like machines, 40-hour week, 2 days off, very little PTO time. You got to build it up sometimes. So it's very different in other countries, like even in Europe. I was talking to someone that was from the UK, and they were saying that for maternity leave, the women get up to like 9 months to a year to take time off for their babies. Over here, the women get 6 weeks, and they're expected to be back at work, y'all. That's craziness. It's insanity. Take a bath. You're gonna need another bath, girl. I just gave them baths. She's gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to wash you off or something. Cause she got a little older. I can't wang with it. I can't rock with it. I can't lean with it. I can't I can't do that. Can't have a cat going around fanning around with a little stink. Yeah. Yeah, y'all. But yeah, it was a good experience. So I really could go back to those days, y'all. Those were some of my happiest times, my most carefree and peaceful times when I used to just write. I was so creative. I would draw. Um, I just had, all types of. I mean, I've always been a creative person, but all types of ideas, y'all. I used to make little projects and stuff. What are you doing? You're getting tangled up in the wire, Tinkapoo. Oh gosh, get down. Over there, I had a cat named Frisk. She didn't like when I said that. She jumped right out my lap. Do you have fragrance for cats? What do you mean? Do I spray them with stuff? I don't spray the cats with anything. Comes in a spray bottle. I have something that I do spray, like in their little cat area, but I don't spray it on them. No. Mm-mm. I have shampoo. I have cat shampoo that I clean them with. But no, I didn't know that they had a spray bottle for cats. That's interesting. Let me look that up. Spray bottle for cats. Spray fragrance for cats. Let me see. I didn't know they had that. I'm looking into it. True Grizzlies. Arm and Hammer products. Odor and dander. Hmm. Let's see what this is. I don't think I want to spray them with anything. Deodorant. No, I'd rather just give her like a little bath or something, or clean her with some shampoo and water. She'll be fine. Y'all, she put up the biggest fight the other day. I gave them a very quick bath. Both of them feel so much better. Their coats feel softer and silkier. But oh, she put up a fight. This is a feisty cat, and she's a strong cat. Yeah, at one point I thought we were gonna have it out. Yeah, I did, y'all. Shoot. So if you have cats, you know what I'm talking about. Just grab them by the scruff of their neck, on the back of their necks. That's how you get control of them. And usually they will comply, all right? Because that's where the mother cat used to grab them when they were kittens. So they never forget that feeling. They know that expresses dominance over them. All right. What? What? I put her in the cage last night. I'm so proud of her. She laid down in her cage, and she actually curled up and went to sleep, y'all. She was snoring a little bit. Uh-huh. She did. She was a good cat last night. So I'm so glad, because I am so tired of them waking me up out of my sleep. I didn't know that Prancer got closed up in the other room last night. I was looking for him. I didn't know where he was. Y'all, these cats, they are a trip. They just, y'all, that's a whole different story. But yeah, y'all. So I don't know, how's your day been, True Grizzlies? How have y'all been? My day has been quite nice. We had a little torrential downpour on my way home. I stopped at a few stores. I saw a lot of police outside today. I don't know what was going on. One car that I saw looked like the windshield got blown out, and it looked like it caught on fire, y'all. That's what it looked like to me. I said, what in the world? But yeah, I'm just relieved that I made it home safely. No interaction with any police today. And I was telling my friend in Dallas, I'm like, look, if they ever get behind you, just turn on a different road. We don't have time for it. Your day has been decent enough back working inside the office, miss working from home. Why do you have to go in the office? What's going on with that? Are they trying to bring y'all back in the office? I would protest. Tell them you can't make it. Because like I refuse to go in the office if I can avoid it unless it's for real estate, y'all. I don't ever want to have to work in another office again. That's how I feel. I will only do remote. I don't want to see these people. I just don't want to ever deal with it again. And I don't think I can deal with it again, to be honest. I don't think I can. Y'all, when I used to work in the office, um, a lot of people would stop by my desk and that would distract me a lot. And they would call us in and out of meetings a lot as well. But I feel like I got more work done from the house than I did in the office, to be honest. Because people kept coming by the desk, coming saying hi, having conversations. And there's nothing wrong with that because you do get interactions. I seldom stop by other people's desks. I used to usually stay at my desk, but yeah, it was different back then. Those were the good old days, y'all. Love working at home, even when I'm working in the office. I don't see my coworker. We all in different cities. Okay, y'all at home, you can play your music, right? You can listen to YouTube. You can watch TV or have the TV on if you want. Usually, I wouldn't really have the TV on when I was working. I would have maybe YouTube in the background. Sometimes I might would have music on, relaxation music at some point in time just to calm my nerves from talking to rude customers. Y'all, that's energy that you're taking in when you're on the phone with these people. It's energy that you're taking in. And so, because I am empathic or I'm an empath, I am very cognizant of how people exchange their energy with me. If you give me that negative energy, you're going to get it right back because I'm not going to ingest your negativity, right? Or I will neutralize it, just like we do on this channel. Now I get random women come in my cubicle and talk to me all the time. Okay, true grizzlies. Maybe they just want to have a conversation. Okay. Nothing wrong with that, huh? Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, random women. You said they're random. Some random women. Interesting, y'all. Now my freaking hair is just so frizzy. You dislike it? Put up a do not disturb sign. You know how they do in hotel rooms? I am working, do not disturb. I remember I put a sign at my desk and it was because I was being harassed by the team lead. And she had some type of issue. I don't know what her issue was because at first she used to like me and then all of a sudden she didn't like me. I guess because I was talking to this other lady that she didn't like, so she didn't like me either. It was just dumb. I had to put up a sign. It said, "Devil, get thee behind me." I did. I did. I put that sign up at my desk because it's ridiculous what you go through at the job. This is why I say I don't want to ever have to go back into an office setting, y'all. The only thing I could do is remote at this point. I can't be around people. They're not even deserving of my energy. Say it ain't so. It's so. They're not deserving of my energy, y'all. A lot of people are not. And that's why I talk about that on the channel too. You just have to be very cognizant of things like that. Probably because you're prettier than the team lead. She was older, True Grizzly. She was like much older than me, a couple, probably like 2 decades older than I was. And so I mean, she was not a bad looking woman, but I was just much younger. So I don't even know why she would act like that. But remember, I told you it's always those middle aged women with these attitudes. They're always like the middle aged, nasty, bitter, having some type of spite, devious females that I don't know, devils that want to take their aggression out on other females, and it's really sad. But thank you, True Grizzlies. I appreciate that. I just don't get it. Um, I mean, we were fine at first. When I first got there, she would always compliment me about my hair, how nice looking I was. And she even asked me what did I use on my hair, and I told her what I used on my hair. So I can't. I don't ever want to go back to the office. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not doing that to my spirit. I'm not doing that to my energy. I deserve a whole lot better than the mistreatment of the nonsense. I'm not dealing with it. Y'all, if you're a female, you know what I mean. If you go through it, then you know. And I'm not doing it. I'm not in high school, and I'm not gonna, as an adult, act like I'm back in high school days again with these females, y'all. These female species. Most of the time I say male species, but there are female species out here. These beastly broads. Not saying she was a beastly looking broad, because she wasn't bad looking, but it's just her energy was off. She had an agenda all of a sudden against me and this other person that was in there. you know I don't have time for it. But she ended up getting let go. I remember that. She was no longer there. I was one of the last people standing, y'all. Okay. And I specifically remember, my very last week there. I started my new job that very next Monday, so I never had a gap in employment. Other people may have, but I didn't. And my next job was, even better, paying more. And I was at the next job for, I want to say, maybe 7 years. So, and it gave me a lot of experience. That's when I was, doing the insurance claims and all of that type of stuff. Didn't have any experience doing that. I didn't think they were going to hire me, honestly. I had got so frustrated. Y'all, was looking for jobs like crazy. And at some point, I just got so irritated. And thank you, True Grizzlies. And the lady from the HR department, she sent me a message, and she was like, yeah, can we get a copy of your last job evaluation? And I told my mama on my lunch break, I said, you know what, I just can't, because the manager, she was a bitch, right? The manager in the department. And I didn't really care for her. So, you know what I did, y'all? I went on my break, I wrote my own evaluation. I doctored up some documents and I sent that thing on over. That's exactly what I did. They brought me in for the interview. I sat down in front of this Caucasian guy and this melanated guy. They both interviewed me at the same time, and they said, "You know what? We like you." Um, and they said, when we interview people, it's not so much about what they know, but it's if you are someone that we think we can work with. And so, they asked me what college I had gone to, and I told them, and because I think one of them had somebody that was going to go to that college, a son or something. So before I left out of there, they were like, "We're right across the street. You could go over there and take the drug test." So they told me how to get over there, and they said, "Oh, another thing, are you scared of planes? Are you scared of flights?" And I said, "No, I haven't been on a plane in years, but." And they were like, "Yeah, because we do training, and so you might have to take a flight out, whatever." I said, "That's fine." So I got in my car. I was headed across the street. Before I could even make it across the street to take the drug test, the HR lady called, and she was like, "How did it go?" I said, "I think it went okay." She said, "Yeah, I think it did too." She was like, "You mind giving me your social security number so I can do a background check?" So, y'all, basically, I had the job, but I never stopped applying for jobs. As a matter of fact, I was back in that same business park right up the road taking an assessment test for another job. And as I'm sitting there taking my assessment test, I got a call from this job that I'm telling y'all about. And it was the HR lady offering me the job, offering me the salary, which was way more than what I was making on my other job. And she was like, "Okay." And she asked me would I be ready to start. And I said that Monday. So, y'all, that Friday, that job ended. That Monday, I started. And that's how the universe worked it out for me. Shout out to the universe, y'all. They saw my potential. Thank you, True Grizzlies. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, I had no experience doing that whatsoever. They had to train me from the ground up. It was me and the trainer every single day for about six. I had about 6 months of training before I could go out on the floor and touch an insurance claim. And that's how I started. And I was excellent at my job, y'all. I did very well. Got promoted twice, and I did really well. Um, managers got switched up. They sent us home April of 2016, they did not want to renew the lease on the building anymore. So they started sending us home. And we ended up going home. And that's when I said, I'm going to relocate. I relocated, came to a different city, a different state. And y'all, I just made a different life for myself. And I started building, a different life and elevating. And I think I told the story about how my managers switched up or whatever. And when I got this other manager, that's when things went downhill on the job. They basically, I went on an FMLA because of the antagonizing harassment. Even though I was working from home, they still will harass you and antagonize you working from home. So I'm not the only one that experienced this. I was talking to another colleague of mine, and she was experiencing the same thing. Of course, a melanated female. Um, but I remember when that happened, I went out on FMLA for 6 months, and they still had to pay me my 100% pay. And I told my daddy, I said, I'm going to get my real estate license for the second time around. And that's exactly what I did. I utilized that FMLA time to go to real estate school from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day for 6 weeks straight. Got my real estate license. I said, no one will ever have the chance to put my financial future in their hands ever again. And I meant that. And I always stressed having more than one source of income. Because for a lot of years, I worked two jobs. I worked two corporate jobs. So I would go from the health insurance to the banking job. So I did that for a while. And that was, a lucrative situation. But I feel like I've been through a lot, y'all. And that's why I talk about my experiences on this channel, because I come from a perspective of actual experience. And really, a lot of people, they come on for entertainment purposes. I come on to kind of forewarn people and to give people my life experience if it can help them in some way, shape, or form. um Not to boast or brag, but just, so people can have an understanding of, how life works sometimes out here. The job is not the end all be all. Your job is like a bridge to get you to where you're supposed to go and narrate in life, and navigate in life, excuse me. So I did that, got my real estate license. And I still work jobs in between that time. But I wouldn't do anything unless it was remote. And I still will not do anything unless it's remote. But outside of that, as you know, I have worked with children for the first time in the school system. My friend in Dallas, it was her idea for me to do that. And I actually did have to resign from that position because I told you I was being harassed by the principal, female principal. So I went on to tutor, and even with that, I had, they took that away from me. So that happened to me twice. So I said, everything that I do from now on, I have to be in charge of what I do. I can never put my financial future in the hands of anyone else because they're very jealous. Did you like working with the kids? The kids love me. I do enjoy working with them, but I'm also tired of it because they take a lot of energy. It's very draining, True Grizzlies. And I find it very rewarding. I've spoken about it so much on this channel. I really like the tutoring. That's what I really like doing, working in small group sessions with the children. That's the best my favorite. And also doing like what they call MLA, which is the multiple learner. So these are like children that are learning to speak English, or either I like to tutor, them in either math or English and stuff like that. I tutored second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. I work up until fifth grade. I don't really go past elementary. I'm not about to deal with the attitudes. But yeah, it's a rewarding feeling, but I'm also kind of over it. And the reason why is because I also substitute teach, and the behavior is one thing. And then the challenge is they put all these children in a classroom that should not be in there. Like they have a lot of children with outside you know, special children that shouldn't be intermingled with the rest of the children. And so then you become like a disciplinarian. You're doing everything besides being able to teach. And then outside of that, it's very frustrating when parents are not doing their part to make sure their children have basic things. So I actually went out and bought school supplies. We're going to have a back to school drive in the neighborhood. And I'm going to make up some book bags. I'm going to put my real estate flyers in these book bags. And I'm going to, have supplies set up for the children. We're going to have it out at the pavilion, but there's no reason why parents shouldn't have pencils and notebook paper for their children in book bags, y'all, because they sell all this stuff at the dollar store. You said, I agree because you have to raise other people's kids. Yeah, it's really a lot. That's why the lady earlier, when I was talking to her, she said she taught for 1 year and she never went back. That was it for her. And she's an English major as well. So people that have an English major as a background, we love teaching. Like I feel very thrilled to be able to help them learn, but it's a lot when it's you have to deal with the behavior. It's just too much. I can't. And it's very challenging, and I just think that takes the joy out of it for a lot of people in education, which is why I would never try to take a career path in education. Like, I'm glad that I got to experience being a substitute teacher first, because at one point I considered transitioning career paths, but I'd rather stick to real estate. Real estate is very challenging and as well and frustrating, but if you get the right client that knows what they want, it can be very rewarding. And so I'd rather stick to things that I enjoy, because it's a lot of energy that you put out and a lot of energy that is taken from you when you're dealing with over 20 some children at once and you're the only grown adult in the classroom. That's not fair to the other children, because they need, more interaction. They need more attention, and it's not fair to the adult. Sometimes you barely have time to go to the bathroom throughout the day, and I asked some of the teachers, how are you able to make it through the day? I've had teachers, like if I go to their classroom, they say, can you just step in here for 1 second? I need to run to the bathroom. That shouldn't even be the case. Some of them don't get to eat until the school day is over. That shouldn't be the case. Imagine your blood sugar level going up. Imagine your hormones and everything is being thrown off in your body because you haven't eaten, and you're dealing with these children all day, pulling on your energy. No, teachers don't get enough credit for what they do, and a lot of parents do blame teachers because their children don't know how to read, and it's not the teacher's fault, y'all. I can mostly guarantee it's not the teacher's fault. If you're a parent, you need to be reading to your child at night, especially if they are of age. Children should start reading books as early as possible. It's never too early. Never too early to start reading. Um, Teach them as early as you can. Children are so resilient and smart and intelligent. It's nothing they cannot learn too early. I promise you. Teachers should get paid more. Yeah, they should. And I would not risk my whole entire life to teach these miscreants. I'm sorry, these hoodlums. Not all of them, y'all. I say that with a grain of salt. I say it jokingly, but I am serious in some aspects, because a lot of these children, you can tell that they're not getting the proper support that they need at home. And it's only so much that you can do in a classroom setting. So it is what it is. Either people want to be parents or they don't. But yeah, they love me. The children love me, y'all. It's seldom that I really get children that don't like me. Now sometimes we will have it out. Like I remember the last part of the school year, I was working with, I think it was fourth graders, and one boy, I thought me and him kind of just we were clashing. But at the very end of it all, I was filling in for his teacher because she had gotten injured, and I was going over their math. And I don't know if it's fourth or fifth grade, but there is like their regular. I don't know who he was. He was some type of guy that was working with them. And I was like, I can let him explain this to you, or I can explain it to you. Which one, who you want? You want to work with him or you want to work with me? He was like, you. And I was surprised that he said he wanted me to work with him, because, I thought we were clashing, y'all. I thought he didn't like me because I'm honest. I give them that reinforcement and that feedback that they need, but it's really coming from a place of caring because you can't be disrespectful. You should not be rude. These just are the basic things. So you become almost like a maternal figure to these children. They look at you almost like a mother in some aspects, and I'm not their mother. And then some of the children, like as far as the females, especially the melanated females, they gravitate towards me a lot, like a lot. They like to be in my presence. They like to sit around me. They like to talk to me. They like to come up to me, and I listen to them, and I talk to them because they just need attention, y'all. And so sometimes they might not be getting that at home, and it's very important to really listen to them and just interact with them. They don't forget that. I'm telling you, they don't. You said you don't have the patience to be a teacher. You respect anyone who teaches. Yeah, I don't have the patience to do it either. I would not do it for like a long-term career, not for myself. And then on top of it, there are other things that go on with female teachers. Like, I got snapped on by another female teacher across the hallway. I think I told y'all about that my last week of this school, my last day there, actually. And I had been doing just fine at that school. I was dealing with kindergarten for almost a whole month because their teacher was out on paternity leave. So I left that hall and I came to the fourth or fifth grade hall. So her and I seemed to be okay. Then all of a sudden, she had, like, I don't know if she's bipolar or what. I don't have time for that type of stuff. So like I said, I prefer not to really deal with females, not to deal with women like that. Um, just to keep my distance. The children are enough. Um, I can kind of deal with children, but like the disrespect, I cannot. I remember I walked out one day because I was supposed to only be working with like second grade. I don't really try to go past second or third grade, to be honest. And depending upon which school it is, the children are very out of control because of the demographic. And so they tried to set me up. They put me in kindergarten for part of the day, then they said they were going to switch me over to seventh grade. I was like, I didn't even know the school had seventh graders in the school. I said, well, where are the seventh graders? So we're walking down the hallway and she's speaking to the children. I said, so are those the seventh graders? She said, no, those the fifth graders. Now I want y'all to take into account I am only 5 foot. I claim to be 5'2". I am very petite. These children are bigger than me. They're taller than me. They look like dinosaurs. Okay. Those are the fifth graders. So what the F are the seventh graders going to look like? So she walks me out to like outside to the field area. She was like, oh, they're out at recess. I said, they get recess. Oh, yeah, they get recess. I'm looking at these, y'all, it's too much. So I'm looking at them. And then you said you have kids who talking like they are grown. I would have to get my belt. Haha, this is why I couldn't be a teacher. They are very grown, very grown. Let me tell you, the kindergartners are grown. The kindergartners got so much personality. It is almost like looking at a sitcom. Like you would be thrown off at how grown these kindergartners are. Y'all, when I tell you, one of the girls, and she really, really liked me. That's why I got all the gifts and stuff for teachers, the Teacher Appreciation Week. She gave me a rose. I got a gift bag. I got all types of stuff from her and her mother, basically. But this girl would come to school and try to tie her shirt behind her back and have her little tummy showing in kindergarten, y'all. In kindergarten. Grown as I don't know what. Then one day let me tell you, one day we were at recess. I'm sitting at the park bench. She comes up to me. She was like, Miss G, I got something to tell you. I said, what? What is it? I got two boyfriends. Y'all, I looked at this girl. I said, you got two boyfriends. I said, what did your mother say about this? Does your mama know about this? I mean, just grown, y'all. Just grown. Getting back to the seventh graders. So the seventh graders, they come, you said, I guarantee the little girls look up to you. Unfortunately, these parents are not raising their kids. I think they do. I really do. Y'all, I have so many stacks of letters and pictures that they've drawn me, notes that they've written me, all types of stuff. I love you, Miss G. You're the best teacher ever. I mean, all types of stuff. But yeah, back to the seventh grade. We go back inside from recess, right? I get in that classroom. I have a seat. I sit at the desk. The way the energy was feeling, the way the energy was vibing, I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm. I got up. I walked out. I said, I'm not doing this. I already could see they were like vultures. They were like predators. They were like lions, right? And I was like, they're not about to eat me for dinner. I'm not dealing with it. Cause I could tell they want to try it, and then you're not about to try me. You're not about to try to put me through all this disrespect and no. So I walk out there. So one of the ladies, the staff members, was like, Miss G, you okay? Is everything okay? I said, I'm not doing this. I was like, I'm about to leave. And she's like, okay, well, wait, we'll find someone else to go in there. How about you want to help out in second grade? So they take me to second grade. Let me tell you about second freaking grade, y'all. You thought that was bad. Second grade was like a freaking war zone. A freaking war zone. And again, this is because of the demographic. This is the location of the school. Y'all, I have never seen second grade. It was just, I don't even know how to explain it. It was a madhouse in that classroom with a male figure in the classroom. That's how bad it was. And then on top of it, I remember the same school. I was talking to one of the BMTs there. She's telling me about how one of the children's brother was up at the school selling weed, selling marijuana at the school, y'all. They let him back in the school. I thought you're supposed to be expelled for something like that. Where do they do this? Where do they let them come back into the school after selling drugs at the school, y'all? Oh, you said you made the right decision. I guarantee the little girls. Yeah, I made the right decision because them seventh graders, I won't about to deal with that. Mm-mm. Not about to deal with it. And a lot of their attitudes that comes from at home. Yeah, I promise you. I remember I was working with some third graders. I heard all types of conversations. They had the nerve to ask me. We're getting ready to go home. So everything was like packed up, getting ready to go home. Miss G, I got a question for you. I'm like, what? Who's the most ghettoist? I was like, first of all, that's not, I'm not even going to answer that question. That's not even a word. It's not even cute. Y'all loud. Y'all just obnoxious. This comes from the background in which they dwell. And it's so, yes, selling weed. Yes. Supposed to be kicked out of school, they let them come back. Yes. True Grizzlies. Who's the ghettoist? Third graders can't read, couldn't read, y'all. And I got so irritated and frustrated because during like language arts time when we're supposed to be reading, the boys would come in the class, put their heads down on their desk and not do anything. Didn't want to read, didn't want to do anything. I said, you're not going to be in here and not do anything. I didn't know this was an option for third graders, y'all, that they can just come in, put their head down on their desk and not engage in any of the classroom activities. So I called the office and I'm like, y'all gonna have to bring somebody in here because I said, this is disrespectful. I said, this is unacceptable. I don't know what y'all are accustomed to, but you don't get to come in here and put your head down and go to sleep because you don't want to do any work and you don't want to read. As a matter of fact, some of them couldn't read, could not read in third grade. Some of them cannot read in fifth grade. I mean, just I I took a picture one day of one of their oh gosh, fifth grade, y'all. It looked like somebody wrote it from like kindergarten. Looked like a kindergartner wrote this paper. I was like, this is completely just sad. Sad. Third graders can't write paragraphs, y'all. Third graders cannot write if you tell these children to write a paragraph, oh my God, can we just do 3 sentences? Why does it have to be five? They are complaining like their brains are hurting. Third graders can't read. Your schooling just getting started. I, when I tell you third graders can't read, I really mean it. Third graders can't read. Fourth graders and fifth graders can't read. It's that bad. It's sad. It's beyond sad. I remember I asked the children, I said, "Do y'all have flashcards at home?" Somebody said, "What's that?" Y'all, this is the stuff that I am being exposed to, that I'm dealing with. Like I can't coming to school with no pencils. You sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and stare and didn't write anything on your paper. What? And I'm like, you didn't do anything. Why did you didn't do? I don't have a pencil. So you couldn't raise your hand and let someone know that you don't have a pencil. And why do these children not have pencils when they are a dollar at the Dollar Tree? Your mother can't invest $1 into your education. Your father can't do this for you. Don't let me hear any child say, "Oh, my mama can't afford it." Yes, they can. And I tell them this to their faces: your mother can afford $1 for you for your education. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable that you don't have notebook paper. You think this is the teacher's job to supply school supplies, because this is what's going on at these schools. And I'm like, that's $1 at the dollar store. As a matter of fact, you can get notebook paper is on sale right now for 50 cents. 50 cents at like Target, Walmart, Crayola crayons, 50 cents. You mean to tell me your parents don't have 50 cents for you? Yes, it's sad, True Grizzlies. They said some of the kindergartners don't even come to school with book bags. They're $5 right now at the Dollar Tree. What happened to the kids who can read and still was the class clown but never crossed the line? Now you only have class clowns. So sad. I would implore you, True Grizzlies, if you're able to visit a school, go visit a school. Like if you have someone, I don't know, if you have children, nephews, little cousins, nieces, whatever, see if they will let you come visit their classroom and see what's going on. I beg of you, if you are out there listening, somebody, because these children desperately are in need of some help out here, because the parents are not parenting. I promise you that's not happening. But they have the latest iPhone. You know, they'll look at my phone and be like, "Oh, what one is that you have?" I have the 16. You have the 16 and can't read. They don't think reading is important. They feel like they can do text to speech, y'all. They have iPads. They have all these fancy gadgets at the house. PlayStations. Cannot read, cannot write, cannot comprehend, cannot analyze, can't logically think. And I'm being really serious when I say this. They will stare at you like a deer in freaking headlights if you ask them a simple question. You ask them something like, you can read literally. I have read the entire paragraph. I go back and ask you the question, who is the character in the story? We just read it. They don't grasp what they read, and it's really a problem. They need to exercise their brains more. You said these kids need leadership, can't afford school supplies, but have the latest Jordans. Thank you. That's what I said, True Grizzlies. How is it that your child has the latest Jordans but can't have a book bag, can't have notebook paper and pencils? That's the most basic stuff for school. And then, oh, some of them are getting their nails done. What else do they be having? I'm sure the parents are smoking weed, because I've smelled some of the children coming to school smelling like weed because their parents don't have enough decorum to not smoke weed around their own children. One little girl, she came to school in third grade smelling like weed smoke. Hadn't been there for days. That was the first day I saw her. She came in there smelling like weed. What else is going on? The parents probably have the latest Jordans. The parents probably have the latest iPads. The parents probably have the latest iPhones. The parents have all types of stuff. But when it comes to their child's education, they can't go and do flashcards. Like I made some of the kindergartners make flashcards, y'all. I said these are going to be your Sorry, y'all. My eye is itching. These are going to be your vocabulary words because simple words you should know in kindergarten, right? Act. Put it together. Act. Act. What's that word? Some of them we're having trouble reading three-letter words, and the sad part is this boy was on the football team. You're on the freaking football team and can't read three-letter words. Where are the priorities right here with the adults in that family? Barely would come to school, and when he did show up, he was not doing his work. It is ridiculous. People don't need to have kids. And see, that's the problem, true grizzlies. People are just out here impregnating anybody and out here just getting pregnant because it just happened. And then they don't want to have the responsibility of being a parent. And it's really not fair to the children. I came from the bottom, but one thing we had was love and our education. There you go, true grizzlies. That's all you need. It doesn't matter. I don't care where you come from. There's still a way to have discipline in the family. There's still a way to have some type of values, a systematic approach to values in the family. You know, people need to go back to actually sitting at the kitchen table and like we used to do back in the day and have family dinners together. If you can't do it every day, do it on Sundays. Do it randomly throughout the week. Don't put your child in front of an iPad all day, in front of a phone all day, in front of a video game all day. And I'm just being honest. I have three nephews, and my sister took away their internet. She did. They got introduced to video games very young, but all three of my nephews are very well read, very articulate and well spoken and highly intelligent. But they're addicted to video games. And I think that is debilitating in some respects because, you know, we did grow up with the Nintendo and Sega, but my sister and I, we had a balance. We wouldn't just play that. We would play with Barbies. We had imagination. We were creative. We would draw. We would write. I would write stories. You know, I was drawing. We would find other things to do, y'all, not just being stuck on gadgets all day. I don't think that's good for the brain. Even Steve Jobs said he would not allow his children to play with iPads or to own an iPad for that matter. And this is the founder of Apple. He said, sometimes I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I have my computer science degree. That's really amazing, True Grizzlies, that you can do that because you have to have a certain type of brain to be able to handle computer science. So I commend you for that. I don't feel like everybody's mind is made, you know, for computer science. And so that just lets you know no matter what, when you put your mind to something, you can do anything, right? Some people were made to be computer science majors. That was not me, okay? Some people are made to do a lot of the things that they have, you know, in life and accomplish the things. So it was just meant for you, you know? But at least you had a team behind you. And it does take a village. You know, I always say that I don't feel like one person can raise children. You know, you do need support. You need help. You need help. Exactly. Technology has ruined people brain cells. Yeah, majorly. Majorly, y'all. But you guys, I've been on here for an hour and 13 minutes. I didn't expect to be on here this long. I want to say thank you to True Grizzlies for coming on. Thank you for everybody else that have liked the video. Please hype the video, share the video, subscribe if you like my vibe. I hope you enjoy these conversations. This is the channel of substance here. We will have other topics that I'll be discussing. Like I said, Friday, we might be talking about the bonnet bandits and the pajama wearers. We need to get into these ratchets again. We need to talk about, you know, how these things are destroying the community because people are not holding accountability where it should be held. And again, we need to also saying to you, True Grizzlies, we also need to hold ourselves in higher regard and set the precedence for what you want to see in the future. That's what this channel is about. Brown Girls Are Beautiful is about setting the precedence for what you want to see in society. So it's one thing to complain about it, but it's another thing to get out and actually do something about it. And people will say, oh, what are you doing? You're just sitting there talking. No, I actually work with children. And I'm probably working with your children and giving them more attention than what you're giving them. So don't come at me with the nonsense. He said, how do I get in touch with you about real estate questions? Infinite. I would give you my my YouTube from my, but I keep my real estate stuff separate from this channel. Just hit me up on Instagram at BGAB underscore TV. Again, BGAB underscore TV on Instagram. That is BGAB TV on Instagram. You can look me up. You can also find me on Brown.Girls.Are.Beautiful on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok at BGAB Clothing, and that's TikTok. Or just send me a comment in the comment section. Okay, Infinite? It's fine. I was talking to one of my friends in Dallas about some real estate stuff as well. About she's thinking about selling her house, and she was thinking about doing it for sale by owner. And I was just, giving some information on that as well. But yeah, you said you did already. Okay, Infinite, I'm gonna check you out, and I will definitely reach back out to you. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here. My nose is itching, y'all, right here. I don't know if my skin is peeling or something bit me, but y'all remember I was outside one day and you said I'll leave a message next time. That's fine. That's good. All right, I'll check it. If I don't get back with you tonight, please forgive me because I'm tired, but I definitely will answer you. But yeah, my nose is itching, y'all. If y'all remember last time I was outside, my nose was itching. I think something bit my nose right here, and it's like I feel the skin like a dry patch. So I don't know if I'm getting like new skin or what. But anyway, y'all, I am signing out. Haben Sie alles einen guten Nacht. That is German or auf Deutsch for have you all a good night. Okay, you all have a good night. That's what that means. That's what that translates to. I would love to come on here and teach y'all a little bit of German. You said it won't be tonight. Okay, all right, Infinite. I got you. All right, y'all. All right. Signing out. Okay. Guten Nacht, y'all. Good night. Check in with y'all later. Love the vibes. Love the vibes. Love the energy.